Welcome everyone in this new live development video about building an auto battle game. In this video we're going to make sure our unit properly record to their squares without using the find square logic we built in here in the event begin play, because right now when we spawn them on the square, this event triggers and it launches the find square logic. But since we're going to use an actor pool, we're going to spawn all the units in that point, and they won't have a match, they won't be visible. And when we're going to need a unit, we're going to drag him from here and teleport it on the square we need. And we need to trigger the find square logic at that moment. But so not in the event begin play. But since clients are not going to receive the events at the moment where we teleport them here, they are going to receive that event through the replicated movement of the fighting units, of the combat units. So since the combat unit has its movement replicated, when we're going to drag him from the pool and pull it and put it on the square, its movement is going to be replicated, and the clients are going to see the units there. And we need to retrieve that event client side. And how are we going to retrieve that event? By using the overlap of the overlap property of our units, so real collisions. So in order for that to work, we need our unit to actually overlap with the square. So we need to make sure that the collision of that skeletal mesh or capsule collision actually collides with the squares. So how does it collide? So first off, this is custom and we don't want that. So we need to go to our project settings, check out our collision, and we made a focusable, and I think the square is actually a focusable because we can, yes, this is a focusable. This takes the collision of our mouse, and I think we want focusable to collide with pawn, to overlap with pawn. So this is going to overlap with pawn, and I think we want pawn, pawn to overlap with world dynamic, because I think focusable are actually world dynamic. Yep. And maybe if we have projectiles, they're going to be world dynamic, but we want units to not overlap with the focusable when they are in pool, when they are used, I mean. So I'm wondering how we should handle this, because we basically want, so for instance, if we want the unit to overlap with the focusable, we want to set that, but when we use the unit, we want to tell by code that it's no longer overlapping with world dynamic. But if we have projectile, we want them to overlap with our unit, so we want that to be here. And I'm wondering how we can do that trick. Maybe by just creating another channel which is going to be projectile, or maybe we're just going to do this, or maybe projectile are going to use a built-in way. We'll see how it goes. So we'll just accept for now, go back to our units. How did we set this up? So units are actually, oh well, they are actually world static, so we don't want that. So I guess this is really not set up the way it should. The only good thing is that it's not overlapping with cursor and focus, it's ignoring them, and I think we want that. So we want pawn. We don't want them to block the camera, do we? Do we want that? So maybe for vision purpose, yeah, for vision purpose, in case we need to check vision between two units, we need them to block visibility, we don't want them to block camera. World static, world dynamic, other pawns, yeah, we want. So for now we're just going to set this, we're going to accept, and we're going to tell our unit that it's a pawn. We're going to make sure our combat unit doesn't have different properties there. Yeah, it's a pawn, we want that. And the focusable overlaps with the pawn. And right now we just want to check out if this at least fires when we spawn the units, because I think it's already should. Yep, it does. So if we do this, we're going to say find square for now, and we're going to disable to tell the capsule that it no longer responds to world dynamic. Ignore. So if we do this, I think the game should behave the same way it did previously. No, it does not. Yeah, it does, except the bench doesn't record. Yeah, our debugger doesn't record the bench activity. I think we should be. So we don't even have the proper units there. This is default unit. And we also we don't have the proper information there. And do we? Yeah, because it doesn't clear them afterwards, and it doesn't teleport the units as well. Oh no, that's just my bench. Yeah. So yeah, we have the same kind of errors we had, except maybe for the unrecord, for the fact that units are not unrecording from. Yeah, I think we're still calling find square in the construction script, and we don't want that. Yep. So that way it's working. Is it unrecording properly? Yeah. So better. So it behaves the same way it did, and that's what we want. We have the same kind of errors. So that's fine. We can quit. We still have these errors coming from the team color, which we're going to handle in future videos. So we modified this, and I think it's working properly. We're never activating this again, but we will take care of this in a future video. Or do we? We can already know when we need to reactivate this. So I think in this video we'll just move some of the logic regarding deaths and other events like this, and we didn't remove this dispatcher whereas we should have, and they are no longer called not in the combat unit, in the units on this new called dispatcher. We don't care about this, so we can get rid of these events and we can create a new dispatcher, dispatch on state modified, and which is going to have two parameters. One is the unit responsible for switching in states, and the other one being the state itself, unit state. In unit state in unit, and it's actually going to be in state. Like this, we're going to refresh all nodes. And we're going to go back to our combat unit. And we're going to find where we are actually modifying the enumerator set AI new state here. So yeah, it only modifies it on the server. And I think that's not what we want. I think we want this, I think. But we actually don't want that function being here. We want to have a new function in the unit called set unit state, which is actually going to call this and modify a new variable unit state. So I think we've already removed that logic from the unit to move it to the fighting unit, but it doesn't matter. So we want to be calling that function. And yeah, like this. Oh, did we crash? No, we did not. And we want to be overriding that logic in the combat unit. We want to cut that. Find where set AI AI state new is called. And we want to be calling set unit state here. Or do we? We can just use. Yeah, well, it's actually a matter of. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this like this. It's the same. I don't know what the difference is between calling this and overriding it, or creating a new function which calls this in terms of code logic, not of performance. And I think after calling this, we want to pull what we were calling, and we want to get unit state here. We want to see where that variable was being used. Set AI state new. Never. We can delete that. We can compile and save. So we moved our on else update is still going to be needed. On this new, we no longer want that event. We actually want people we are tied to that event to tie themselves to the set unit state event. So I should have done another video for that. I'm sorry, because it will have been better organized, but it doesn't matter. We're soon over. So we want to find a reference to that event. Oh yeah, so I'm just going to control Z, call dispatch on this new. So nobody's tied to this. So we're fine. We're going to remove new out of these values as well. So can we do this? Yeah, we can. Revive, we can. On this, on take damage. Start combat. Remove this. New everywhere. Compile, go back to unit. Go back to combat unit. We don't have any errors. We might have an error when it comes to that function. We have to go in there. Cut the code, remove that function, go back to our current else variable and make that rep notify once more, and go back here, paste our code, and we should have no difference between before and now. Except that it seems that we are lagging as hell. Oh, Okay, I know why. Yeah, because we once more have the square bug where all squares are duplicated, so we're going to delete them and retry. Alright, seems to be working the same it was. So we're good with this, we still have the same errors. So it's going to wrap that video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.